Hey guys, so today I have a very appropriate seasonal tag for you. It's called the Christmas Carol book tag. Les and I were tagged about a year ago actually by the Lit Cave, and this is originated by Novels and Nonsense. I will link the original videos, but there are a bunch of questions that are all named after different Christmas carols, and then you have to find a book that matches that question. As you can see, I attempted to decorate for the occasion as well because we are getting very close to Christmas and it's very exciting. Onward to the questions. The first one is Deck the Halls, some of your favorite book covers. I decided to stick with books that I have in the bookcase right behind me rather than referring back to books that I have back home with my parents. So I went with these three. The first one is one I've mentioned pretty recently, and that's California. The main reason I love it is that when you turn it on its side like this, it's this awesome forest scene. It's just really cool. The second one is I'll Give You the Sun. Such a fun cover. I mean, it's great having some subtle, black and whites on a cover, but it's also really fun to every once in a while have just so many rainbow colors on it. It really livens up a bookshelf. And then the other one I decided to pick was The Greek Coffin Mystery. This is one of those Penguin drop cap books, but I just love the blue tone on this one. It's a great, great color and it looks really, really good on your bookshelf. The second question is, Let It Snow, a book that takes place in a wintry land or a book that takes place in winter. And really, there's an obvious answer with this one. I have this book, just not, with me here, but it's The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe from the Chronicles of Narnia, because, it's always winter but never Christmas, and so I feel like that's just really appropriate for this. Question number 3 is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, a book where the main character is something of a misfit. And I decided to pick Under the Egg. I read this book a bit ago now. It's a middle grade book, but it is absolutely fantastic. I love it. Every once in a while I rave about it on here. And Under the Egg has a middle school age girl named Theo, and she's the main character, and she lives in a, in a funky house, and in New York City they have chickens. She just has this great, interesting personality, and although it might not be as misfitty as you might be thinking of, it's not as severe as Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer misfit, where he's shunned by society. But Theo has, she's different and she's fun, and I really, really love that book, and I enjoy Theo as well. Next one is Holly Jolly Christmas, and this is a book that makes you happy. I actually had more trouble with this question than I thought I would, because I feel like a lot of the books that I enjoy because they challenge me, they bring out a lot of emotions, they're just riveting, whereas a book that actually makes me happy is harder to find. And I decided to go for a semi-obvious answer here, and that is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Some people might be like, what, that book makes you happy? There's so much death, there's so much sadness, but every time I read this, I just feel that nostalgia of the time when this book first came out, and there's so much good happening in this as well, and it wraps up a wonderful series, and it just makes me feel the warm fuzzies inside, so that's why I chose this one. The Christmas song is the next question. Your favorite Christmas story. Now there is one question in here that is not directly related to books, so I decided to make the answer to this one also not directly related to books, because I don't really read Christmas story books. It's just not anything I gravitate towards. I don't feel the need in December to go and read those stories, but there is one movie that I love to watch, and so The Holiday stars Kate Winslet, Cameron Diaz, etc., etc. They're on the cover there, but I just love this movie for some reason. It's a rom-com, but it just always makes me feel so happy, and I'm planning on watching it at some point next week right before Christmas. It's gonna be great. Frosty the Snowman, a book with a character that is cold and hard on the outside, but is really a kind, warm person. So thought about this one for a little bit and then came up with what I think is a pretty good answer, and that's The Hunger Games' Haymitch, because when we first meet him, he is an alcoholic, he's mean, he gives off this attitude that he doesn't care, even though just under that layer, he is actually a very caring person who really wants Katniss and Peeta to do well, and he cares about them, he cares about other people, so he is the epitome of somebody who comes off as not caring and cold, who is actually a very very caring individual. Up on the Rooftop is our next question. A book that you'd shout from the rooftops that you love, one of your favorite books. And this one, if you have been following my channel for any time, will be no surprise to you, and that is Into Thin Air by Jon Krakauer. This book just gripped me from the beginning. I love the fact that it is nonfiction, and although it is a very sad story, it was just so interesting, and it added this, you know, extra level of intenseness knowing that it actually did happen. And this is his point of view, and yes, there are differing points of view on what exactly happened. This is the 1996 disaster on Mount Everest, one of the deadliest days on the mountain, but it is just so good. Anybody who mentions this book, I'm like, yes, yes, you have to read it, it's so good. So definitely shouting from the rooftops for that one. Santa Claus is coming to town, and that is a character that looks after another character. This is actually a perfect question for a recent read of mine. It's called Displacement. It's a travel log. It's about the author Lucy, and she goes on a cruise with her grandparents because her family's worried that her grandparents won't really be able to take care of themselves, and she looks after them, makes sure that they get their meds, that they don't wander off or get in trouble because they're in their 90s and they're not doing so well anymore. It's really a lot of reflection about life and where she's at versus where her grandparents are at, and appreciating her grandparents. And I really have to commend her patience, because I was getting so angry at her grandparents in that novel, and she was able to keep it together. But it's really a wonderful display of somebody taking care of somebody else and trying to be as nice about it as possible. The Holly and the Ivy is our next one, and that is show a green and red book, or a book with green and red on the cover. Now, I noticed that most books don't usually put green and red together on the cover because it does scream Christmas. Unless it's a Christmas novel, they're not really going to go for it. But I did notice that the spine of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets on, you know, the US editions has green and red on it. So I'm choosing this one. Silent Night is your favorite classic book. I thought about this one for a little bit, and I decided it's kind of a tie between Jane Eyre and The Great Gatsby. I've read The Great Gatsby twice, and I think I liked it more the second time I read it. I haven't read Jane Eyre again since my senior year of high school, which has been a little bit now, but it was one that just I really loved the first time I read it, so I feel like both of them kind of balance out. Baby It's Cold Outside is the second to last Christmas Carol, and that is your favorite romantic couple, book romance, or romance book. And I decided to go with Gemma and Kartik from the Gemma Doyle trilogy. I feel like they're severely underappreciated. There are plenty of other book couples that are way more famous and more well-loved than them, but I feel like Gemma and Kartik never got the recognition that they deserved. I mean, they got to be together, but not really, and so it's so upsetting. Even when I reread the series, I was just, yes, Gemma and Kartik. Our last Christmas Carol is The Most Wonderful Time of the Year, and this is the one that is also not directly related to books, and it's your favorite holiday tradition. I think my favorite holiday tradition is the fact that our family, we always have like a Santa gift. So when we were little, it was obviously the gift we thought we got from Santa, but now that we're adults, we know that it's really our parents buying them for us. And my sister and I, we get up probably around 7 o'clock in the morning. We weren't allowed to get up before 7 o'clock in the morning when we were younger. We'd go downstairs, and our Santa presents would be sitting there unwrapped in front of the tree, and so we'd get to check those out, and then we'd gather up all of our stockings, and we'd all come downstairs and open all the stuff in our stockings while we're making like cinnamon bun roll things to eat. Those are delicious, by the way. And then after we've done that, we'd actually open all of the other wrapped presents under the tree, but I just love that we still do that now. I look forward to coming downstairs, seeing your big present, and then getting to kind of explore what's in your stocking before opening up the gifts from everyone else. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. Oh, Christmas. I'm sure everybody else has their own present traditions and how they open their presents with their family, so let me know what yours are down below, because it's always so interesting to hear what everybody else does for the holidays. If you guys feel like doing this tag, go right ahead. It's a great way to get in the Christmas spirit. While I was charging my camera, I was listening to Christmas carols, so definitely feeling Christmas flowing through me right now. I'm not going to tag anyone in particular because I have no idea who has and hasn't done this, but please do it if you want to. I encourage you to. As always, all of our links are in the doobly-doo. Check those out if you feel so inclined. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.